Thanks for listening to BYU-Idaho Radio. These are your evening headlines for Wednesday, the 18th of September, 2024. I'm Kaylin Wills. Rexburg's own Olympian is back in the United States and is beginning to tell her story. Brandon Isle talked to Chari Hawkins about her heartbreaking Olympic Games.
I promised myself, no matter how I compete, I will remind myself after every attempt that I take that I am worthy, I'm valuable, and I'm having fun, and this doesn't matter in the big scheme of things.
Rexburg's Chari Hawkins says it's that mantra that propelled her to become a world-class athlete. It's also the mantra that helped her push through a disappointing high jump in the Olympic heptathlon to finish her series of events in Paris. As a heptathlete, she competes in 7 events: 100-meter hurdles, high jump, shot put, 200 meters, long jump, javelin, and 800 meters. In each event, the athletes receive points based on how they do. The athlete with the most points wins. The high jump is the second event and one of Hawkins' best. She opted to begin her jumps at a height she has always been able to clear, 1.71 meters or 5.61 feet. But whether it was poor communication during the event, the chaos of the arena, or something else, she failed to clear the bar and received no points, meaning she was in last place with no hope of overcoming the deficit. Most athletes decide to quit at that point, but she decided to continue to compete for her family, for her fans, for the other athletes, for herself.
I will say it was one of the toughest things I've ever done because I've never been in the middle of grieving while also having to step out and be the best version of me. So I told myself, if you are going to go out, you're going to go out with your whole heart, with everything you've got, and bring everybody up. And put on a show for sure.
Hawkins says she's proud of herself for finishing her events. She's now starting to tell her story of pushing through her anxiety in competing and smiles as she can now say she's an Olympian.
It's a really special honor that I do not take lightly, and I'm very grateful for.
Hawkins says she won't decide whether she'll continue to compete until the end of her off-season, so stay tuned. I asked her what advice she has for young athletes.
So I would just say, detach your value from the things that you do, stay healthy, and keep going.
You can follow Hawkins' journey on her Instagram and YouTube channels. Just search for Chari Hawkins. For BYU-Idaho Radio, I'm Brandon Isle.
Local community members are lacing up their tennis shoes this Saturday to support the deaf community at the 5th annual Walk for ASL in Blackfoot. The community is invited to participate in the walkathon to bring awareness to the community's needs for more resources to learn American Sign Language, as well as to raise money to provide free ASL classes taught by deaf teachers to several different Idaho regions. The event starts at 10 a.m. at Jensen Grove Park. The entry fee is $10 ages 13 and up, and $5 ages 5 through 12. Tickets can also include a t-shirt for an additional cost. Walk for ASL chair Stefani Saltern hopes the event moves people to learn ASL and help stop language deprivation in Idaho.
It's important because many deaf people, they have limited friends, coworkers, family that can interact, so they don't feel included in a lot of things. They're not included at even something as simple as a discussion at the dinner table, let alone a family event or a special event that's set up for socializing. It's very limited in the community, and it can be hard to find resources in order to learn. So it's important to provide access to that information.
Walk for ASL recently finished its stints in Coeur d'Alene and Twin Falls and will proceed to Boise next weekend after the Blackfoot Walk.
You don't have to know ASL to come. You can simply come and support friends or family or someone you may know from the community without knowing ASL.
For registration and more information, visit idahoassociationdef.wixsite.com/Idaho. Stephensen Elementary in Mountain Home became the first Purple Star school in Idaho. Purple Star schools strategically implement practices that help new students from military families transition to a new school and keep them on track for success in college. workforces, and life. Stephensen Elementary has worked to ensure that needs from military families are met as their children transition to the school through a liaison officer, counseling services, and staff that greet new students and parents with understanding of how educational and military experiences can overlap. The Idaho Department of Education has prioritized bringing Purple Star schools to Idaho and see the program as a way educational communities can show gratitude for the sacrifices service members and their families make each day. Thanks for listening to BYU-Idaho Radio. These have been your evening headlines for Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. We've got more great content for you anytime you want it. Just search for BYU-Idaho Radio on your favorite podcast app. You can also ask your smart speaker to play KBYI 94.3 FM. We're also on the interwebs. Head over to byui.edu/radio to listen there. For BYU-Idaho Radio, I'm Caleb Wills.